Hello my loves, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am so happy that you're here, and if you're not, thank you for coming back and spending time with me today. I really cannot express to you what it means to me to have this little space, be able to share my heart and my soul with you. If you've been around for a little while, you might have seen on my New Year's video that this year for me is really focused on creating more harmony in my life, being more present, feeling more grounded, feeling content with where my feet are as a mother. So I wanted to take you through what that really looks like for me on a day-to-day basis. How is that me as a normal human being, as a wife, as a mother, how I am working to make the best of this season. It is winter here in upstate New York and the weather is dreary, but I am feeling so much better than I have in such a long time, and there's a few reasons for that. First thing, when I start my day, I want to center my mindset around what it is that I want to create that day. The morning is such a precious time to me, and every day is not the same. Some days I get 20 minutes, some days I get none, but if I can take a few minutes to listen to a meditation as I'm waking up, pull a card, set my intentions, read my script for the things that I am manifesting and calling into my life, that makes such a huge impact on how I feel going into my mornings and into my day. One of the things that I love doing in the winter time especially is trying new recipes. For over a year now, I have been deep into the world of sourdough. I have tried my hand at artisan loaves, at bread loaves, bagels, donuts, cookies, you name it. I have had so much fun experimenting and falling back in love with cooking again. I know that might sound weird, but I think somewhere in between, working full-time as a nurse and having kids, I started to feel like I just didn't have the energy or the drive to create. And I really have found sourdough to be a vessel to bring that creativity back into my life again, especially as a busy mom. It's something that not only can I get my hands dirty with, but I also can create something beautiful and something fulfilling and nourishing for my family. So that's what I'm doing here today is every week I make a batch of sourdough bagels, and my favorite recipe by far is the recipe I found from Farmhouse on Boone. It's her sourdough discard bagels. So this does use yeast. So if you know anything about sourdough, the long fermentation is what helps break down the gluten. So this isn't a long fermenting recipe, but it is delicious and it is homemade and has very few ingredients, which is why I love it, and it is by far my go-to to whip up in a morning or an afternoon, and we have bagels for my whole family. And of course, whenever I'm in the kitchen, I'm always multitasking. My boys are playing or eating breakfast, and that was always such an obstacle for me. I found as a mom that I couldn't just focus myself on a task because I felt so pulled in so many different directions and distracted by everything. But something that I've been really trying to harness and focus in on is really just allowing myself to have grace with my circumstances, to be able to start a recipe or start baking something and allow myself to be interrupted and distracted, and not letting it mean anything, not letting it deter me or frustrate me from feeling like I'm not doing a good enough job or my kids are being too distracting. Because the truth is that this is the season that we're in. This is the season of my life that I am in, and it's not going anywhere. And instead of resisting it so hard and so heavily like I have done, I am really trying to lean in to finding that grace and finding that spaciousness to allow for the chaos, to allow for the messy. So I will leave that recipe for you in the description box if you're interested, but these came out so good. My gosh, some everything seasoning, and they are just my favorite thing ever. One of the other things that is really helping me and my mental health this winter season has been my 75 Reel challenge. I talked about this in my last video, but one of the big things about this challenge that drew me to doing this was getting outside every day, 30 minutes outside every single day. I don't know what it is since I became a mom, but I just have it built up in my mind that it's just too much of an obstacle. It's too much of a hassle to get everyone bundled up and dressed and to get out the door. But I am so surprised and so happy to say that this has become such a highlight of my day. Going outside, no matter the weather, with my kids when that's exactly where they want to be anyway. And as a homemaker, as a wife with a husband who works full-time out of the home and travels, so much of my homemaking is outdoors, with taking care of our property, with taking care of our chickens, shoveling, making sure that everything is going smoothly. And so I really have just found it to be so empowering to make this a part of our day. And it's just opened up so many possibilities and ideas with this limiting belief no longer having such a hold on me. And I'm back in the kitchen again. And this time I am trying out a brand new recipe. A few days prior, I mixed up my first ever sourdough brioche. Because with all of our eggs and just with our chickens really producing more than ever, it seems lately, I've been looking for more recipes and things that I can make that will allow me to use up our egg supply. And I ended up sticking this in the fridge. I couldn't get to it right away, so I ended up forgetting about it. So here I am, just starting to pull it out and knead it and get it warmed up a little bit because it was pretty firm. So again, this is a recipe that I found from Farmhouse on Boone. If you are a sourdough lover or if you're looking to get into sourdough, I highly recommend going and checking out her channel. Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone, she has a blog and she has a incredible Instagram as well if you are looking for some inspiration. I have been following her for so long now, and she is actually the person that inspired me to get into sourdough after I had my first son back in 2020. So I cannot rave enough about her. And I was really excited to have an excuse to break out my cast iron bread pan, which I got for Christmas. I have been on a journey of really limiting the toxins in our home. And that started with sourdough and switching over our pots and pans to cast iron. So I currently only cook on cast iron skillets. We have 3 skillets and I cook between the 3 of those, and I was really excited to add to my collection with this, and so far so good. I've used it a few times since then and it's really works perfectly every single time. And of course, I cannot do anything without being pulled away to sit down and play or to play mediator between my sons. They are just so rough. I don't know if that is just a boy mom thing or if it's an every kid thing, but right now their ages are 1.5 and 3.5 and they play like thugs. It is just wild. So I'm constantly having to intervene and make sure that they are just playing nicely and not too rough because we have had one too many injuries as of late, but what can you do, right? So like the other recipe, I will leave that in the description if you want to check it out. One of the biggest things that has been such a huge help for me this winter has been getting back into therapy. To have that outlet again, to have that person that's focused solely on me, and to help me build more awareness around the areas that I am looking to improve as a mother, as a wife, as a homemaker, and as a business owner. And I am so impressed with how much I have been loving BetterHelp. This video is by no means sponsored, but I really truly just want to share my honest review that it has been such a lifesaver for me as a stay-at-home mom, a work-from-home mom, to have the option to video chat and have such a flexible schedule with therapy, and to be able to take out the hassle and the overwhelm of finding a good match. It's really been so streamlined. So if you're looking for some support, I will leave a link in the description box that will give you 2 free weeks to check it out for yourself, and I really hope you do. I am so thankful that I did. This is a few days later, but we ended up getting a real snowfall and it was just so beautiful. I love this type of weather, this type of winter where it is white and it is beautiful, and we can get the sleds out and we can go get the mail, and it just brings so much more fun to everything, to the winter. And of course, there is shoveling to be done. I make sure I shovel off our back porch and our sidewalks because we have a elderly black lab. He is actually, I think he's 13 now, and to make sure that they don't slip, I really like to make sure to clear this off. This deck is at the top of our home project list for this upcoming year. You'll see in a few minutes that I actually pulled up a piece of wood off of the deck because it's just rotting away. There are so many nails sticking up and slivers sticking out. It's getting to a point where we really can't prolong it much longer. We are planning to probably tackle this later on this summer, and I just cannot wait. I love this view and I love this part of the house, and it will just be so nice to have a deck that we can play on safely, and I won't have to worry about the boys or any of us getting a sliver or punctured with anything. Oh, it will be so wonderful. Another one of my favorite parts of winter is definitely the snowsuits. I love seeing my boys all dressed up in their snow pants and their snow suits. It really just, I don't know if there's anything cuter in my opinion, but I will not lie, it does take a lot of work, and so I completely understand why I avoided it for so long. It's just one of those things that as a mom, you're always looking to simplify and to create more ease in your life. And if there's any advice that I can give, it's just to take care of you first. When you can find those little moments to do for you and take care of yourself, I find that it gives me so much more energy to do those more daunting tasks of getting everyone dressed when you yourself, getting out the door, because in the end, it is always worth it. And I'm in the kitchen one last time, finally getting my brioche dough in the oven. So I'm just putting on a egg wash, preheating the oven to 425. I actually put these in right before I went back outside with the boys, and so they did get a little toasty, but they came out pretty good, I will say, and were so delicious. All right, my loves, I hope that you enjoyed getting a glimpse into a few days of my life. I hope that you have found some encouragement and some inspiration to bring more comfort and joy into your days. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.